Hey y'all, welcome to Kiki with Shishi. Today we're going to do part 2 of our Cancer Chronicles. I know this is not my family's favorite part of me recording videos, but I feel like since I got a lot of education and a lot of knowledge from others who have done their cancer journeys, that I owe it to those coming behind and those that are just looking for a little bit of information. So, since I've been doing recordings, I'm not sure how much battery power I have, so this probably won't be a very long video. So, let's just get into it. Last time we talked about what type of cancer I have, which is the intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit about how they figured out that cancer. Um, a lot of cancers are pretty easy to diagnosed breast cancer, testicular cancer, uh, lymphoma, I believe, is probably pretty easy to diagnose. For me, since my primary is the bile duct and the secondary really is the liver cancer, the first cancer they actually find is the liver cancer because the tumor is more prevalent at that point. As I believe I said in the last video, that liver cancer is extremely rare. Most cancers are somewhere else and then they just metastasize or they move to the liver. So, they had to do quite a bit of testing to figure out where my cancer was. I have a large tumor on my liver, but since that was not the primary the primary cancer, they had to go in and do a lot of testing. So I had, just to diagnose that I have cancer, I had an ultrasound, I had a CAT scan, and I had an MRI. Then those are all pretty simple procedures. You don't have to starve. Um, There's one that they do with a contrast, which they put some blue dye in you, which makes you feel like you're going to pee on yourself, which is not very comfortable because you have to be laying on a table and you have to be very still. So you have warm fluid running through your body while you're supposed to be still and you feel like you're going to pee. Um, so those three were pretty easy. Then came the more complicated ones. I had to do an endoscopy and a colonoscopy on the same day, which is very interesting because basically they take a tube or two tubes and go from both ends. So I'd rather them do it all at one time and get it over and done with rather than having to go back. The colonoscopy, if you've never had a colonoscopy, congratulations. Run, hide as fast as you can because colonoscopies are sent straight from hell. I'm a fluffy girl, and so for colonoscopy, I couldn't eat for 24 hours. You can have jello as long as it's not a red or orange jello. You can have tea with no sugar, coffee with no sugar. Who wants that? Yuck. And you can have all the broth you want. Yes, if I see green jello and broth again, I might catch a slight attitude. Anyways, so you do that for 24 hours. That's the beginning of cleaning out your system. And then you get to drink this lovely flavored jug of this water type stuff. And that starts your bowels to moving. I basically ended up sitting in the bathroom, um, with a shirt on. Going back and forth. You have to drink this solution every 10 minutes, and probably every 2 minutes, you're going to be going to the bathroom. And bless my husband's heart, he said, since you can't have a regular dinner, I'm going to drink broth with you. So that really helped me out. And he drank water every time I had to drink the solution. So that was quite helpful. But it is not a fun process. After a while, I had things coming from both sides, so I was miserable. And then the next day, thank God my colonoscopy and endoscopy were scheduled for early, so I was able to eat by about 2 o'clock when I got out. And it's kind of funny because I was starving and I was like, I just want some pasta with some shrimp in it. And he's like, I'm not leaving you in the car by yourself after you've been sedated. So I was like, fine, just take me to Panera. I got my macaroni and cheese, I got my corn chowder, and I got my bread that they give you. I took 2, 3 good bites of the bread and I was knocked out asleep. And he's like, and you wonder why I didn't want to leave you in the car by yourself. So, yeah, that's one of the harder part of these procedures. Um, a lot of them you can't eat because they want your organs and things to be clear, and it is a minor surgery. So if they have to do anything, they don't want you to aspirate, or they don't want any of the food to be blocking areas that they need to look. So the endoscopy, the colonoscopy, whew, I'm glad that they're over. I did have to do another endoscopy because they decided to go back in with dye and see if they can do a little bit more pinpointing. The other procedure that I had to do was a PET scan. That PET scan you cannot eat before. You have to go in and then they give you some solution and they make you sit for an hour. And I guess that's so that when you get under the skin, any type of cancer will light up like lightning bugs. So mine was scheduled at 2. I didn't get to eat it all that day, and then by the time I finished that procedure, it was about 4:30. I was so hungry that I ate my tacos so fast that I ended up getting sick. So anything with me having to wait is probably not a good idea because I like food. Um, so we did the PET scan, and then they had to go in and do another biopsy because they wanted to check to see have they targeted the right place for the cancer, and B, has the cancer moved anywhere. So once they figured out where the cancer was, my last procedure was they opened up my sternum, which that doctor swears that he didn't open my sternum. My body and every pain that I had that day says the doctor's a lie. And they actually put a port in. I have a port, hopefully you can see it, little triangular thing under my skin so that when they need to give me fluids, when they want to draw blood, it's just easier for them to access this. Which my port is Naughty, and we'll talk about her later on. So I still do a lot of access through my arm for blood, but all of my chemo goes through my port. And that was the last procedure that I had done in them finding and locating the cancer and if the cancer had moved. So, fun stuff. Let me know if you've had any procedures looking for a diagnosis. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how yours came out or if you have any funny stories. I think me falling asleep with the bread in my mouth is probably one of my favorite stories from all this testing. There was another one where we had cheeseburgers and I dropped a french fry on the floor, and my husband thought I was delusional because I told him he had to pick the french fry up because they were very good french fries. I don't recall that story. He swears it happens. Anyways, so leave me some comments. Let me know if you've had any testing, anything's unusual, if you've had a colonoscopy and had to go through the whole liquid courage thing. Also, make sure to like this video, to share it with friends that you might think find some value in it, and subscribe. When I tape next time, I think I will be taping some shoe videos. And if I can get my laptop connected and figure out this whole YouTube thing, I can add some pictures and show you some things. And I want to edit a video of my 16-year-old getting her nose pierced. So, lots more fun to come on Kiki with Shishi. Y'all have a good day now, you hear? Bye-bye.